Episode 47 of Minor Disturbance Radio. I'm Brian Minor, of course, and
I'm Travis Williams.
Travis Williams is here with us.
And immediately to my right and your left is...
Tony Carducci.
Yeah. The world famous, of course,
God,
Tony Carducci.
world fame. And when we say world, we mean...
Maybe my world?
Yeah, right.
Let me just tell you, this weather that we're having, it's Wednesday, what is it, the 2nd?
Yep.
Is it the 2nd today? This weather is not conducive to dudes with hair like us, man.
No.
Not at all.
Dude. No. I got up this morning and had 6 foot hair, man. I grew like 5 inches this morning.
Yeah. Well, I saw you, walk into the house and you were like, it grew as, you got out of the car, it was nice.
Right.
And it was like...
It was like the peanut butter solution. Have you ever seen that? It's sort of fucking, no, it's a kid just starts growing hair like a weed.
But I'll tell you what, when I'm working during the day, I put a ponytail in, and then I kind of put the whole ponytail on top of my head and then put the hat on, so it's all tucked in the hat, right? Nicely.
Oh, right.
And lately my wife has been like, hey, you look good like that, God. and so my mind gets going, and I'm like, well, because I put up with having long hair,
right,
so that I can play for 3 hours and look cool, right? Because when you let it down and you get the eyeliner on and the shit, you kind of, it's the part for my band anyway, for 80s tribute, right? You don't want to have to put a wig on.
No.
So I carry this around all the time, so I don't have to wear a wig. And I'm thinking, well, let's see, I play once a month maybe, and maybe I should just fucking shave it and put a bandana on and call it a day, right?
But I mean, when you put that stuff all together and put it up under your hat, it's basically like wearing a coonskin cap.
It's kind of like wearing an oven.
Pretty much like your Daniel fucking Boone in July.
You know what I noticed? I noticed that after a nice day of work, maybe a couple days or whatever, that hat starts to smell like a fucking sock.
I bet it does.
It's gross. It's gross.
That's why I don't wear hats, man. I don't even pull my hair back except for when I'm at home. Yeah. There's no reason to.
No,
I just can't.
I won't even have sex with my wife with it down anymore. I'm like, because then I'm doing this, and she thinks I'm trying to pose and stuff. I'm like, no, I just don't. I want to see what I'm doing here.
My wife has threatened to divorce if I cut my hair.
Really?
Oh, she loves
mine did that for a while too.
Oh, yeah.
Mine did that for a while too. Yeah. She was like, I don't know if I'd be attracted to you anymore. I know it sounds mean, right? But that kind of attraction, I guess. And I don't know, girls are weird, man.
No, it's all good.
There's girls that are like totally like, you have long hair, you're out. I'm not even going to look at you. It's gross.
Yep.
And then there's girls like, oh boy, he's got the long hair going on.
See, now the problem is, working at the store that I do, we have all the old mothers and grandmothers that come in. Oh, your hair is so beautiful, I have to touch it. And it's just,
man, you sound like a witch when you did that. That was awesome.
It gets kind of scary and a little creepy.
Get this guy a wart for his nose.
Yeah. Yeah, listen, she's hitting on you.
Oh, totally.
She wants your cock, man.
That's right.
When anybody says you have beautiful hair, that means they want to have sex with you.
That's called like geese-ilf.
If you see him, it's worse.
That's what I mean. At our age, that's all we get is like old ladies.
That's funny.
You think that stands for grandson I'd love to fuck, but they don't really have sex anymore. It's grandson I'd like to feed.
Yep,
they want to make you cookies.
Yep, make you cookies.
No, it's like a G-silf.
A G-silf, okay, whatever.
I'm making shit up.
Anyway, so couple things I want to start with is had some car troubles, and I don't know when you guys have a car breakdown, right? What do you do? Where do you take it? It's just random places. You have your place.
I have because they're gonna charge the fuck out of you.
No kidding. Oh God, QC Auto Repair down by I forgot where they're at.
My wife knows.
They're really good. They've been taking care of us for a long time.
Well, I'll tell you a story. Brian's got a story for you.
This is going to be about Lou Jacks. I could probably beat you on this one.
Okay, well, it's not about Lou Jacks, but you could probably still try to beat me. But
all right. Yeah.
So check this out. My work van's a E350. It's a Ford E350, and apparently engines in vans are hard to get to, and so you've got the 8 spark plugs in them, right? And what happens with Ford engines is they have an aluminum head, so the spark plug is actually stronger than the head. So sometimes, every once in a while, when you start the fucking truck, the spark plug shoots out like a 44 caliber bullet. Right? And then it sounds like a Volkswagen.
Awesome.
And it's wonderful. And so that happened, and apparently there's one spark plug that's the hardest to get to in an E350. People that work on gearheads or motorheads would know what I'm talking about here. But it was the number 2 coil and plug. So it's the worst one to get to. I took it down to the nearest place I could find. They looked at it and they're like, I'm not even going to touch it.
Damn.
I'm not even going to touch it because I can't get to it. It's going to be too hard. I don't want to mess it up.
Hey, at least he was honest.
Basically, what you have to do is re-tap the hole and put a helicoil in there. And then, so anyway, he recommended I take it to Dahl Ford.
Okay.
So I'm like, Dahl Ford, they're gonna kind of rape me, right? And he's like, no, they've been reasonable, and it's a Ford too, so it might be something that's on the recall thing, and they'll pay for it. So my right. So I drive it up to Dahl Ford, and this is, I'm gonna tell you exactly what happened. I drop the damn thing off. They look at it. They go, oh yeah, it's we'll look at it. We'll call you back with an estimate. So they call me back about an hour and a half later, and they said, yep, that's the number 2 coil. It's the hardest one to get to. He said, I'm gonna, it's with parts and labor and everything. It's gonna be $760. With taxes, it's gonna be $820. And I was like, fuck. It's got to be done. I got to work. I got to make money. So go ahead. And right when I hung up with them, I got online and just started looking. I wanted to call around, get a couple other opinions. So they said it was going to take 6 hours. Okay. Dahl said it's going to be a 6-hour job. That's why it's so expensive. Okay, man. So I called. First place I called Wallix.
Wallix, dude.
On 5 Points out here. It was just the first one that came up. So I called them and I said, look, man, I got my truck at Dahl right now. They said it's the number 2 coil, and they're like, yeah. And I was like, can you guys do that? Yep. I was like, how much would you charge? I don't know, $250 maybe. Hey! And it's like, now remember, this is the number 2 plug that, he said, yeah, we'll have that done in like an hour and a half. And I hang up real quick, and no shit, on my phone, you can look at the logs. 20 minutes it took me to finally, call back Dahl and say, all right, man, I'm having the truck towed from there to somewhere else. I'll pay you for the estimate and, whatever time you put into that. Dude, we got it on the lift right now. We're just about ready to put the coil in it. Like, wait a minute, you said it was going to take 6 fucking hours.
Yeah.
And you were going to get me for 6 hours labor.
Yeah.
And they said, we have it all apart. We got the doghouse off, which is the little plastic console in the middle. Yeah. We got that off already. I said, well, I took that off. It was off when it was there, so you didn't take that off. I'm coming to get my van. And so my tow truck gets there, and they try to pick it up, and they said, well, he's got an outstanding balance. And I called, and I said, I'll pay the balance right now. I got my credit card. And he's like, we don't take credit cards over the phone. Oh. Who the fuck don't take credit cards over the phone?
The 1920s called.
They're just trying to fuck with me.
Yeah, they're just fucking with
me. So now
they're just pissed.
They make the tow truck leave. Right, and they can't take it until I can, get there to pay them. So
for shit's sake.
And I went up there and paid them. Well, I had my wife go do it because she was out. She had to leave Gordman's, Oh, God. and go. I'm like, sorry, honey, but can you go pay this so I can get my damn van out there? Right. I'm at Gordman's. I'm like, well, fuck. Anyway, so she goes and pays it. I get the tow truck over there. They do it. They call me the next day at 11 o'clock. I was dropping my daughter off at school. They call me at 11 o'clock in the morning the next day and say, your truck's done. Sorry, we ran into a little bit of trouble. It's going to be $290. Oh. And I'm like, I don't give a shit.
Yeah, no kidding.
I still just saved $400. They charged me $100 at Dahl for their shop time.
Really?
Yep.
To park it in their parking lot is basically what they did.
Yep, that happened to me.
Right, so they wanted $100, and I paid them $100, and I had it towed there. Did it for $290. So I paid like $400 to have the damn truck fixed. But still, I saved $400 and something bucks. Yep. What's up, Dahl? What's up?
Yeah, that's the Dahl difference.
Yeah, absolutely. I was so pissed. I was like, them guys were totally raping me, man.
Yeah,
that's what happened with me at Screwjacks. I've got that Audi out there that I'm driving. And I had a computer part go down on the braking system. So, okay, something comes up on my car screen, and I'm like, okay, go get it fixed. I go down there because they're the only Audi supposed repair center. And I pull in. The guy's like, okay, we'll get an estimate done. So I was about an hour and a half. I just sat on my butt and, used their free Wi-Fi and just kind of goofed around. Guy calls me back. He's like, you've got what I already knew because I looked up the code online. He says, you've got this computer part out. We got to pull the wheel off, put it in, and the part is $800. And
Jesus.
Oh yeah. Oh, it was ridiculous. And they were going to charge me like another about $400 or $500 in labor. I'm like, I don't want to do that. I was like, and he's like, well, let me tell you about. You signed a piece of paper stating that we're going to charge you $175 to look at it. And he's like, and since we've already got it, we're going to do the work. I'm like, no, you're not. I packed up my car. I paid, the money to do the estimate, which I felt was stupid.
Yeah.
And I called a friend of mine down at JJ Racing, Andy Cowan, if you know who he is.
Yeah, I know Andy.
He was working there.
Down at JJ.
Yeah.
I heard that place is dynamite.
I called him, and he's like, dude, look up the part online. So I go online, the part's $80. All day long.
Sweet,
$80.
dude.
Go down to JJ's, they hooked me up, it was like $400. And I got the car totally fixed. And
That's awesome.
Lou Jacks.
Well, what's up? I'm sorry, go ahead.
They kept sending me these forms to, how was your
The
experience?
questionnaire. Yeah, dude. And no.
Did you wipe your ass with it and send it back?
What's this? Is this a Rorschach test? What is this? But no, I think that's the most hilarious thing about all of it. When you go to Lou Jack's and you get done with something, the first thing they do is like, okay, now I've got this survey for you to fill out, and what you're going to need to do is fill out the number 1 on each of those for absolutely
they guide you right through it.
I'm going to make my own decisions about how I'm feeling about your service, thank you. And you can see the blood run out of their face when you do that shit, because they're constantly trying to maintain this certain rating. And seriously, if they get 1 or 2 not perfect reviews, they lose their rating.
I added an extra layer of competition because you know me. I was like, when I called Dahlback, I was like, hey, Wallach's is going to do it for $250, bitch.
Yeah, right.
You know, I'm kind of like that. I was being nice.
Yeah, right.
But then they were like, they better know what they're getting into because they probably don't know. They ain't going to be able to do it for that, dude. They ain't going to be able to do it for that. And so I was like, oh yeah, and I was like, well, I'm still towing it. And I called back Wallach's. I said, Dahl said you guys can't fucking do it.
Wow.
They said that you guys can't handle it. And they're like, oh yeah. Well, then they're motivated. You know what I mean? Then they're like,
we're going to tap the fuck out of that block. You know what we're going to do? Yeah. Ooh.
That's awesome.
My machinist finger is itching.
Yeah. But what I'm getting at is they see me rolling up. I got my wife following me in the car with the kids, you know what I mean? And here I am in this work van. I ain't wearing a suit, you know what I mean? I'm like, and they're gonna let's rape the fuck out of this guy, you know? Let's take food off their table and lie to him. I don't respect that, man.
Nope,
no, I'm sure they were
all.
Thinking that too, because here I come rolling in an Audi, which I bought used.
For the record, mine is an Innie.
Well, they thought you were Yngwie Malmsteen too, by the way. So they charged you the Yngwie Malmsteen rate.
I'm sure they did, because that was it was over the top. My wife was. You could see her hair standing up when I told her how much it was going to be.
Yeah.
And she was like, no. You call somewhere else.
Yeah.
Don't we have a trade agreement with those European countries? Can't we get parts cheaper than $800 fucking dollars?
Dude, eBay.
eBay. No, I'm dead serious.
That's where I found it.
Man,
totally.
people are fucked on the internet. With the internet, stores are fucked because they can't lie no more.
Let me tell you about that with my business. Working in the music
you work
store.
at West Music, so you sell instruments, and everybody comes in and goes, yeah, but they got it for $20 less right here.
And we happily match that price.
That's what you do.
Absolutely.
Really? That's what you do, man.
You know how easily you could Photoshop a website and show you a picture of a Jackson, or how about a San Dimas? I'm gonna bring you a picture of a San Dimas, the Warren DeMartini model. They're selling it for $55.
$49.99, really?
Oh, and fuck Bay over here.
It's got a framed picture of it.
It's got that font looks a little weird.
Yeah.
No, we got people
how come
that
it don't scroll?
What's the point size?
See
on
now
that?
though, we ask people to bring stuff in. They're like, oh, you saw it online for that much? Can you print the page? They print the page, they bring it in, I double check it, I go to the website.
Yeah.
I'll do
it's
it.
Legit.
I don't care.
Yeah. And it does sort of stand to reason that because when I was working at Music Go Round, that was verboten. It was the whole idea, well, fine, just buy it off the internet. That is the dumbest thing you can possibly do. We're only going to make $1. Make the dollar. Make the dollar.
Yeah.
You'll get this. This person will be happy with you. You will have made $1.
Yeah.
You know?
And they'll come back.
They'll come back, man.
But the best thing is because now that the businesses are all running what's called, and you'll know what this is, MAP pricing.
MAP pricing, that's right.
And minimum advertised pricing.
That's right.
So if a dealer has said guitar at a certain price, which is lower than MAP, not only can we match the price, but we can turn their ass in.
Yeah, you can turn them in. Yep.
And if it's printed, it's there. We send it off.
It's like the Gestapo. It's like the fucking union, man.
Well, it's how we gotta regulate it.
Hey, what are you doing selling these guitars cheaper than me? I sent Vinny over there to teach you how to sell guitars. What I got to do?
There are certain brands.
That was the worst gangster impression I ever did.
What's that? What was that? Was that was that supposed to be like Brooklyn or Queens?
I don't know. I watch a lot of TV. It might have been SpongeBob SquarePants. I don't know.
Was he Seagull?
It was something.
Yeah. So no, I mean,
I tried.
It's you in in the age of information, you really have to overtly establish these cartels in order to be able to control prices. Otherwise, there will be an irrational competitor that will show up and offer these, these deals that are meant to get people to spend money on accessories, but don't really make the money on the established product, and it just fouls the water for everybody.
It's called loss leader.
Loss leader. Thank you. I was trying to think of that term. And
well, you guys know a lot because you worked in that. You still do, and you did for a while.
I was 10 years.
I always walked in and I was like, "Come on, man, cut me a deal." Like they could. I knew for some reason I knew that they were making $300 on me, so I'm like, come on, just make $100. Sell me the damn guitar.
And we do that all the time, man. I'd like to see some of these people that walk into Walmart and say, cut me a deal.
Yeah, right.
I want to see that happen.
And I got to tell you, Walmart doesn't have the lowest prices. I was at Menards, and the big packs of AA batteries, don't ask me why I need them.
Yeah.
But I have a lot of kids. And, I have 2 kids and a lot of toys. And
whatever. It's your stupid fucking PlayStation controllers, and you know it.
They don't take batteries, man. They don't take batteries. But anyway, so I was there. They're like, it was like $9.99 or whatever, and at Walmart they were like $12. So I was like, and my wife was like, they're gonna be cheaper at Walmart. We're going there, so don't buy them. Fuck, $4. I
Makes you mad.
Now, see, I deal with it every day, so I don't care.
That's like 4 packs of Swisher Sweets, man.
I know for a fact when someone walks in the door and they're looking at something, I already know they're gonna say, hey, what can you do on this? Yeah. It's that simple.
Just be honest. And every time I walk in the door, you're like, oh, he's gonna look at this goddamn guitar and he's gonna talk about Minor Disturbance Radio and he's gonna pick up one of the ukuleles and go, look
again.
Actually, we had gotten in an Iceman ukulele made by Ibanez.
Is it a broken mirror one though?
No, that would have been awesome. I could do that though.
Yeah.
I could crack up a mirror and I'll put it on there for you.
Yeah, he'll poxy that motherfucker right.
Will you do that one up?
Sure.
Really? How much?
I don't know.
You can tell him on the air. He's going to hold you to these prices.
I know, right?
Right on the air, man.
Depends on if you want me to finish over it or if you just want it the way it is. Because I can break up a mirror and put it on there easy. That's simple. That's easy stuff.
Okay,
but some of the shit I've built.
Right. Okay.
Break a mirror and glue it down.
I'm thinking about it. Would I lose value on the guitar doing that to it? Seeing as how it wasn't original.
If you're ever going to sell it, I mean that's the thing.
I don't know. Can people see that Iceman back there? I'll move my big old head.
This is the question you have to ask yourself: is would it gain value for you to do it?
I bought that guitar for $500 like 10 years ago.
Dude, that's not bad.
Somebody had it in the paper. I borrowed the $500 from Jerry Freeze because I was a broke bastard.
Yeah.
Paid him back finally, in 8 years.
Right.
And $20 a month. And then I got that. And then now I look on eBay. I don't know why I do this. I look to see if it's gaining value, and it's. I think that they're selling right around the 800 mark now.
Well, that's not bad.
Yeah, so it's getting better.
That's cool.
Depends on the glue that I use. I could probably put some stuff on there like it's Fabri-Tac. It's this really kind of sticky glue that peels off like snot on clear surfaces. So something like that, I could put it on. You could play a show with it. It won't come off. But if you ever want to peel it off, all you do is just rub it like a booger and it comes right off.
Right. Yep.
Rub it like a booger.
Rub it like a booger.
I know what you're talking about when you say rub it like a booger too. That's the funny thing.
No, you're talking about the label that used to be on TV guides.
Yeah.
That you could peel the shit off of.
And then I used to always stick them in my nose.
Yeah,
and then,
talk to people.
Hang out, like whatever. And they're just kind of
try to have a serious conversation about like geopolitical concerns.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you're standing there with like an iceberg sticking out of your nose.
Yeah, exactly. Awesome. Nice fucking dangler.
That's great.
Little stalactite.
You got to roll it around for a while and get some dirt on it. Maybe a couple cat hair sticking out of it.
You do. Yeah. In fact, your dead skin on your hand, the oil and shit, dude, that makes them look very booger-like.
Yeah, because I can spot like magazine glue.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on, man. That's not.
That's a
you got to really roll it up for a while.
That's fake, man. I can still see that it's really just kind of like barber pulled in there. It's
you got to roll some coffee grinds into it.
Okay, that's why this dude's always so fucking perky.
Yeah.
He snorts pure Colombian, and I'm not talking about cocaine.
Oh my god.
Juan Valdez.
Oh, I do love my coffee.
Well, I suppose we could talk about rock and roll now.
Sweet. Well,
now that we've talked for an hour about other
cars
stuff.
and bullshit that nobody cares about.
Actually, I think that people care about that
more.
They do care about the cars than rock and roll.
They do.
And by the way, I don't care what people think anymore.
No.
I really just love doing podcasts, and it's a music podcast, obviously, but musicians have fucking cars. Right? Come on.
Yeah, but, I just like to point at shit and say, man, nobody cares.
Anybody that's tuning into MDR to have, their, to be
entertained,
blown away by, oh, that's fascinating. I don't think that that's what's happening.
Thought-provoking.
So,
engaging.
Because we had I don't know why I even try to fucking communicate with people. You know, hey, we're doing an episode next, tomorrow night or whatever. Anybody, what do you want us to cover? Hey, cover how you suck.
Okay.
No, that's not what they said. But one dude,
but it always is some shit like that.
Now that you brought it up.
One dude goes, and I ain't gonna give him any credit for it, but he's like, it's something to the effect of, hey, why don't you try to talk about something that didn't happen 20 years ago or something like that.
Wow.
And because you're kind of like high school kids that were star athletes or whatever, and you can't get over something like that. Something like that.
Yeah, right.
Oh, wow.
Right? And then Dave Paul, who's like,
Oh, I know Davo.
fucking in the industry, right?
Yeah, he is.
The real deal.
Yeah,
this
he's an
guy is
awesome
like
guy.
rubbing shoulders with all the people, Anyway, he lit him up. He's like, well, looks like you need to have some fucking hobbies there. You fucking,
right.
posing. I'm like, no, don't do that. Let him say what he's gonna say, man.
Right.
But you don't mess with Davo, though. You say anything to him, and if he doesn't feel it's something cool, man, he's gonna let you know.
Right.
And that's why I love that guy.
He's like
he's
he's like a pit bull, man.
Oh,
You're like,
yeah, it's
and he's like,
awesome.
pet him, scratch him, and then all of a sudden,
He paid me a real nice compliment once. He said, and for once, Travis didn't annoy the shit out of me. I felt uplifted.
I have just recently worked on a bass for him that another place worked on, and things didn't go well. And he brought me the bass, and he was so extreme. Now, mind you, this is my first experience with this guy. And he's just so extreme, and he's always moving, and he's very serious. But then he'll say something that's just off the wall and makes you laugh for an hour. But I felt like, oh my God, if I don't get this right, this guy is going to blast me from here to eternity. Yeah. I got the bass done, got everything ready, and he paid me the most incredible compliment on Facebook, of all places. But still, he attached me to it, and he said a lot of nice things, and I was just like,
and they weren't
dodged that bullet.
But they were actual compliments. They
Yes,
weren't
because
like,
he doesn't do it lightly.
Hey, he didn't fuck this up.
Yeah, he was fantastic, and now he's been coming around. I stay in contact with him.
You know what you need to do?
That's
I think what you need to do, you need to work into your whole little workstation there. Because when I come in, that's your station. It says, it's like that's Tony's place or whatever.
Yeah.
And you need like a big crystal ball. And when people come in, like get smoke machines and some lights, they hit it, and as they're telling you what they need, just because it's so cool. Because you remind me of like a dude you go to in the old in the sorcery days or whatever, and like I need you to put a spell on this bitch. It's like, whatever.
Get you a fucking
Miracle Max over here.
Miracle Max, hey, it just so happens he's only mostly dead.
There we go. Thank you.
Yeah, wear a cloak and shit. Put the hood up.
Probably could.
I just need strings on it, Tony. Calm down.
Nah, he's a fantastic guy. Turns out he's also from my hometown in Hollywood.
Oh,
okay,
cool.
He used to run. I tried out for his band back when I was just a little nard, and they basically said I wasn't tall enough because all the guys in the band were like 6 something. And
wait. You tried out for what band?
he had a band called Violent Playground.
Oh, okay.
And we're talking late 80s, probably 87, 88. And
that was where?
That was in South Florida, Hollywood. And I think he was in.
Florida.
I think he was in either Boca or Pompano. I can't remember which. And there was an open ad in one of the rag magazines down there, and I called up, got an audition. I showed up. I played a little bit, and basically, I think it was their bass player or one of the guys was just like, you're just not tall enough, dude.
You don't look right.
Because they were all like 6 stupid, and I'm,
6 stupid.
There's that again. The
6 foot stupid.
And it was
that's code for plays too fast.
There you go.
Or something.
Right.
Because
they didn't say anything about my playing. They just said I wasn't tall enough.
Of course not.
I look back at the after whatever year it was where the whole music scene changed. And I finally had my hair grown out, and I had I had all my arpeggios down and all my speed picking and all my riffage, and I even had my fingers spread out like Warren DeMartini and shit. And I had it all figured out. I had my pants all ripped up and shit, ready to go, and the long button-up shirts with the little pants. Remember, like the late 90s, with the white snake look.
The early 90s, 91, 92.
What, the Mango video?
I had my loose or the slouch boots with the jeans tucked in, and I was ready to rock. I was like, I'm ready to go, and like, here we go. And it was like, you aren't. you are too good for our band.
Right.
That's what they would say. What do you mean too good? In other words, dated.
You
and
didn't get the memo.
Right,
Yep.
right. But anyway, to the guy that says that we're talking about shit that's 20 years ago, I mean, look at us, man.
Yeah.
Give me a fucking break.
Yeah.
I'm 42 years old. I got 2 kids. I don't have time to go fucking see bands anymore, do shit like that. We're going to talk about our glory days. We're going to talk about whatever the fuck we want to talk about. I
dare anybody to show me something that is actually new. I dare somebody. I dare somebody to show me something that is actually new.
Okay, do we mean new as in new talented or new style of music?
No, I mean new as in not basically just yet another, remixed construct of some previous set of values.
This one wonderful band that was from 20 years ago called Drop Hammer actually had it in their lyrics.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah,
what was that lyric?
I can't remember. Let me see. It comes round. It's actually in the title track, Drop Hammer, which is Bring the Drop Hammer Down.
Which
and it says it comes round full circle. You know it never dies. It's just another long lost trend wearing a brand new disguise.
That's right.
Every
Brian
10
Meyer.
years.
That's right.
So anyway, that's what I kind of knew that back then. What are you gonna do now?
But you had the art and eloquence to encapsulate that little nugget of wisdom right in the poetry, yet not the art and eloquence to not name a song after your fucking band.
Oh, shut up! You just wish you'd have wrote a song called Mariana's Butthole.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well played.
Thank you.
What band doesn't write a song that's called their band? Your band?
Yeah.
We have nothing.
You know what I hate? You know what I fucking hate? What I fucking hate is when bands name their song a title that they don't even say in the whole song.
Or no.
That
Or
is
when they
kinda
use
weird.
the words rock and roll. Sorry.
Yeah.
That just all legitimacy to the song goes away. I can't stand that.
Yeah, right. With rock and roll.
Yeah, I just can't take it.
Another unacceptable lyric is dudes.
Dudes?
Except in the
dude
case
looks
of all
like-
the young dudes.
Oh, no, come on. What about dude looks like a lady?
No way.
No? Okay.
No fucking way.
All right.
Dude.
As in, come on, dudes.
Okay.
Let's get it. You know what? I take that back. Dude looks like a lady is acceptable. But dudes, plural, is not
Okay.
acceptable.
I'll live with that.
Dude.
All right. I think I actually have a band for you. Scar Symmetry. You ever
Okay.
hear of these guys?
No.
Okay. They are a mix, and I listen to as much new music as I can possibly get my hands on.
And again,
because-
I'm going to go ahead and say new music.
Yeah. And you
It's-
did say mix too. So you're going to say some things that we relate to, and they're all mixed together. So it's still just another construct of all the things that have been done again.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't heard anybody else do this. They have a singer who actually sings.
Weird.
Smooth,
I like that.
beautiful vocals.
Weird.
And in the same page, they also have the death vocals in it.
Okay.
And there's, I believe, 3 of the members of the band actually do the death vocals. So they have bouncing back and forth between the guy with the high death vocals, the guy with the low grrr,
Right.
and then another guy who can scream.
So what you're saying
So
is,
they're
now I had this
shotgun
idea a long
blasting
time ago.
everything.
What you're saying is, it is like death metal barbershop quartet.
Oh my God, yes.
I have been wanting that for years.
You need to find these guys.
Okay, Scar Symmetry.
Scar Symmetry.
Easy name to remember because it's terrible. But then,
It is terrible.
It is, but
I will check them
The music
out.
is fantastic.
All right.
It's
Do you mean instrumentally fantastic
Oh,
or
God, yes.
structurally fantastic?
a little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything.
I think they're a really good band, and I would love to find some more stuff on them. I've got
Okay.
2 of their
All right.
albums,
All
and
right.
I hate death vocals.
Really.
I hate them.
Oh,
And
interesting.
I'm with you, man.
Interesting.
I
I'm with
don't
you.
like that, and
I rarely like it. I rarely like it.
I don't care for it. Even though I was in a band called Fifth Dawn, and that's all we had.
Yeah.
I was there because the music was awesome,
Sure.
and I was having a good time.
There you go.
But these guys structure it.
Oh, cool.
And I was
cool.
really impressed. And the fact that it's got a little bit of a Dream Theater progressive type sound,
Right.
attached to death metal,
So what-
attached to thrash,
so what you're
and all
saying-
this other.
so what you're
It
saying is-
still all the same stuff grouped.
But what you're saying is it's kind of like a wound or maybe a scar, but it's not random. It's got some sort of
So you're talking
balance or
you're basically
symmetry
talking
to
about
it.
12-foot ninja. Very funny. You're talking about 12-foot ninja too.
No,
I mean, they're
think
kind of the same thing.
I think they're a little bit different than that.
Yeah,
I do think.
Well, 12 foot.
Well, see, I like them guys.
Which, dude, I mean, you can't instrumentally listen to the instrumentation of something like 12-foot ninja and not be at least in some small portion in awe of
Oh, God, yeah.
the kind of instrumental power that those guys wield. But at the same time, I still feel like they're hosing me. You know what I mean? Like I still feel like,
But they're obviously hosing you,
of course,
though.
and I'm saying that it's cool. one of my main musical influences is Weird Al Yankovic. I don't mind humor in music.
Awesome.
Don't mind humor in music, but there are just certain guises or certain affectations of genre that I have trouble integrating into the comedic paradigm. You know, like, I just don't think heavy music should be funny. It's like watching strippers dance to, like, super heavy metal.
Have you not seen Death Clock?
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah, and no, it's hilarious. It's hilarious. But I don't watch it. Like, if I happen to catch it, I will be like, yes. But it's not like, okay, set the DVR to Death Clock.
All right.
What the fuck is Death Clock?
Death Clock was Metalocalypse. It was a cartoon that was on. Yeah. And they just basically were like Spinal Tap.
Is there a character in it that looks like me?
Yeah.
Kinda? Okay, because somebody sent me a picture
Yeah.
of some dude. This dude, that's Brian Miner.
Yeah.
I'm like, that dude's way more ripped
Dude.
and has cooler hair.
It's a funny
brilliant
show. I don't really watch it a lot. I actually really enjoy the guitar player because he's
great.
over the top.
He is really good.
Yeah,
He
way
is
over
super
the top.
good, dude.
Yeah,
I thought it was hilarious. It was around the time I got my Crank Revolution, and at the time, like, that was the main amp on the show was the Crank, because the Crank had just such a such an Everlast, such an MMA kind of fucking marketing.
I can't buy an amp that says Crank on it.
Well, I actually took the Crank logo off of it.
Yeah.
I'll stick with my Carbon. Thank you very much.
Yeah, Carbons are nice, dude.
I dig my Carbon.
I was a PV man for most of my.
I was too.
My
5150s.
Now, speaking about being old and talking about shit that's 20 years ago. Well, on the subject of getting old. I played this last weekend. You guys played. I
thought you were about to say, I'm having a heart attack.
Stone Tattoo is your new band.
Right.
And you're in a band with. And I'm sorry I segued that by saying something about old and then starting to talk about your band. But I wanted to say.
Let's talk about people with really old balls. Stone Tattoo.
No. That has nothing to do with your band. I'm talking about me. Because I was going to talk about when I played at Purgatory last weekend. You guys were in Cleveland?
Yes.
The Rock the River reunion thing?
Right.
Yeah. How'd that go?
Actually, it went really good. It started off a little slow, but once the night progressed, things just totally kicked ass.
Cool.
I'm actually playing with a bunch of guys that it's the most relaxed I've ever had a band.
Marvelous.
So, I worked with Jason Hamilton as our singer, Chris Brumberg as our drummer.
Wait, slow down. Chris Brumberg. Yeah.
And then Mikey DePaw is our bass player.
Yeah.
And
what's the singer's name? I'm sorry?
Jason Hamilton.
Okay, now correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't he in a Judas Priest cover band Manalishi with
That's right.
Chris? Yeah.
And I was in that for like a couple weeks. I actually replaced Paul DePaw.
Oh yeah,
that fucking band.
Yeah,
I saw them at Racer's Edge. And,
they were great.
And I've never seen Brumberg drum better in my life. Because he's so confident in that, and he knew every part. When you have your favorite shit that you know everything about, man.
Hear it in your head.
And he played with
questions.
the utmost confidence. I'm like, that's where Brumberg shined, is playing that style of metal. It was awesome. Yeah. Anyway, but with the new band, it's going pretty good then.
Yeah, it's going great. All the guys are fantastic. We walk in, we actually have a really good time playing together, which is kind of hard to find. And you've been in so many bands, and you guys know what that's like.
You realize how, not to be negative, but we've all been in bands around here. We know what the audiences are like. I mean, they're diminishing to begin with. Even if you play top 40 stuff, it's diminishing, let alone if you're playing metal stuff, because you just told me when we got here and we were playing around with the guitar a little bit, which, by the way, I was like, God, I gotta play more often, because I pick up the guitar and get in front of peers and I'm like,
that's how I feel. I've got YouTube shredders.
Yeah, exactly. You get in front of peers, I walk off short ones.
Anyway, so you told me that you guys picked up a Badlands tune, Winter's Call, which is fucking amazing, but nobody's gonna care.
I know.
I would, if I could get away from the kids and take the wife out and go see a band. Me and her'd be freaking out. Yes, but
we're
tackling the stuff nobody wants to play, and because we want to play.
Well, we're tackling the shit nobody wants to play either. It's just a lot easier.
And it kind of reminds me of the talks that we had about Simon Says Uncle.
Mm-hmm.
That
I remember that band.
Very similar.
That there was this idea that, because the audiences are kind of diminishing anyway, why not elevate the experience to some kind of premium level?
Hell yeah.
You know what I mean? Make it a little bit more elite in the song selection, and do stuff that is the stuff that you would do if you didn't care what people liked in the audience, and knowing that there might be actually an audience for that. There might be people who want to see that. Well, the answer, of course, is there isn't, but it's still fun.
I don't know.
You don't think so?
I don't think so because
Okay.
we brought out Queen of the Reich. And
Okay.
we do that song, and we picked up people who are now following us from show to show
Cool,
because of that song.
All right. Dude.
And because we have a singer who can actually do it.
yeah, that dude was
And-
like a mutant.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's really good. It's ridiculously good. But we picked up all these other tunes. Like we're going with Metal Church. We're doing some of the older heavy
dude.
stuff.
Yeah.
But we also have versions
Dude.
of like Highway Star that nobody has touched.
Right.
And
other
we've-
people have
we've
remade
got-
that too. There are like more metal versions of that song.
Yeah,
too.
actually Metal Church.
Yeah,
One
Metal
of the
Church.
bands that did it.
Although, hey,
But-
do you think you guys could do some Grim Reaper? Dude.
I don't know, man.
Do See You in Hell by Grim
Oh my
Reaper. Yes, dude. I would come see you if you did that song.
That it would always be a drummer like selection. Like
Yeah.
a drummer would come like, okay, hey dudes, all right, we're doing Unskinny Bop. My bad. Talk dirty to me, nothing but a good time, and this other '80s song that nobody likes. But what do you want to do, Joey? Drummer Joey? I want to do fucking Grim Reaper.
dude.
Hell yeah.
No.
See You in Hell.
Oh,
That
is
dude
awesome.
was speaking of mutants, I mean,
Yeah.
the lead singer of that band, he was like somewhere between the dude from Steelheart and like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
You know,
God.
you could
He was
bust
a
out,
fucking mutant,
beep, 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 run to the hills, and
Yeah.
and even the girls that like Poison would kind of recognize it
They
enough
would.
to where they're like,
They would.
all right, and
Yeah.
they're like, I recognize this.
Yeah.
We've busted out a couple Iron Maiden tunes,
Yeah.
and every time we get people up front.
That's
So
amazing.
That's
Yeah,
what you want,
my
man.
point. My point was this, man. If you're in it to pack places and make a lot of money and be the big, because I got caught up in that whole thing too, where it was like, okay, I got to win the draw game. That was just my agenda. I was like, okay, fuck this. I'm tired of people packing places and making lots of money because it's more fun to play in front of packed houses.
yes, well, without a doubt.
You know what I'm saying? Unskinny Bop, like I said before, becomes my favorite song in the world if we're playing it in front of 300 people and they're all partying.
Agreed.
I would rather do that than play Queen of the Reich in front of 12 people. Maybe.
Now,
Depends
if
on if them 12 people are very receptive of it.
That could be it too, and also don't forget the size of the room is important because I have found that really the overall population density. Like I've been to some killer shows that only had 35 people, but it was in the back room of a coffee shop. You know what I
Right.
mean? That's why it was fucking killer.
But
Anyway,
but let me clear up some air here. Because if I think back to what I
Packed
just
house.
said, it sounds like I'm like, well, my band is the
Mine.
big draw. And that's not what I'm saying. I'm telling you that even playing the shit that everybody knows is hard to draw.
I agree.
It don't matter who the fuck you are.
Yeah, because the music scene around here is kind of falling apart.
Exactly.
Except unless you're in a tribute band these days.
Well, that's what
then you're-
everybody's doing now.
But I
So
think it's kind of falling apart everywhere, though.
The guys from Electric Shock and now
They're killing it.
Yeah, and Randall with Randall Kettleson with,
with
Bleach.
Yeah.
Holy shit! Have you heard that?
Yeah, it was amazing.
yeah, they opened for
Damn,
us
he
up there.
nails it.
Yeah. It's awesome.
Yeah, they opened for us at the Purgatory when we played
Right.
outside. So the night you guys were playing,
Yeah.
we did our show. So let me tell you about my show experience. I got to tell you, this is where the old thing comes in, okay? We're going to get back to the getting old thing. I sing, singers that are watching, you might understand what I'm talking about here, but, your voice, it's like a race car. If you don't throttle it up often, the engine starts to bog down a little bit, and you don't know what it's going to do. You walk into a gig knowing that you're going to have to sing some things that are, I don't give a shit what anybody says. 80s metal is hard to sing.
It is.
Well, yeah.
It is.
You've got to be able to sing to do it.
Yeah.
So, and if your voice has been shot, like you were drinking all night last night and you're a little hungover and smoked too many cigars or
Yep.
whatever, you're going to pay for it the next night.
Yeah, you are.
And you may pay for it in spades. So, anyway, I'm nursing myself. I'm snorting nasalies and shit, trying to get my shit all opened up and spraying shit in my throat. And getting crazy and making sure I'm sipping nice lukewarm water. And you start getting. I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with me? I used to just do a couple shots of whiskey and do it, but we were doing it every weekend.
Right.
Yeah.
So I knew last weekend my voice was strong. It's going to be strong this weekend. But if you take a month off and you don't even, the loudest you get is stop doing that.
Yeah.
Get out of there. Quit kicking your sister.
Take that out of your mouth.
Right. So exactly. That's a popular one at my house.
Yeah.
What do you got in your mouth? So and you don't know, but you're warming up the car. You're trying to see what's gonna do, and you're getting up there, and you're okay. I'm all right. I think I'll be all right. And then you try to hit the high A, the one that you're waiting for, right, in the car, and it's like. fuck. And you're like, well, maybe once I get warmed up and the night goes
there you
on,
go,
and you don't open up with Steelheart, right? And
Right,
so anyway, so
and then the drummer's like, hey, we should open up with Steelheart.
yeah, Matt Fitzpatrick, hey dude, Steelheart. Look, let's just start with
Let's
that,
just pull
man.
the fucking doors off this place.
Oh my god.
Let's start it up.
But I found that sometimes you really don't have too much control over your range, because I think the older that you get, your range is going to diminish.
Yeah.
I mean, look at Don Dokken. He's a huge example of that.
Yeah, but he also sang from the nose. He never really sang from.
He was like that, wasn't he?
Yeah. He didn't sing from the chest.
Right. And I mean, I see it happen to Paul Stanley. Paul Stanley is losing his range. They tuned down to D. They're in D now.
Yeah.
So it's like, shout it. Shout it. And you're like, what are you doing?
Shout it.
Shout it. Yeah, shout it kind of quietly.
Shout it in a different key.
Tune it down. We got to play in D, yeah. Anyway, but anyway, so I'm, and the one song that everybody, like our crowd, kind of, they're waiting for me to do, and they're egging me on, Steelheart. They want to hear Angel Eyes. And when I was, first starting to sing in like third rail, and my voice was, I was in shape, I wasn't smoking, I didn't do nothing, I was working out all the time, running and shit. My voice was strong, man. I wasn't afraid of that at all. I'd do it any time of the night, and I know I'm gonna sing them notes and it's gonna freak everybody out.
Yep.
Not anymore, man. It's like as I'm going through the night, my voice feels good, but I can still tell that, like, okay, Steelheart's going to be scary. And they start the song, and I've got a lot of high notes to hit in that. You've heard the song. And honestly, we tuned that thing down a whole step to begin with.
Yeah.
So he's hitting an A, I'm hitting a G.
Wow. Yeah.
For the high note at the end, that's a high G. So, and I'm just like, oh man, here we go. And I'm like, people getting their phones out and shit, and they're wanting to record the whole thing.
And you're just like,
and I'm like, please don't do that. And I just told everybody, I'm like, look, man, I'm not a spring chicken anymore. If I sing this, I'm gonna suck probably. And if I hit the note at the end, good. If I don't, please shut your phone off. Don't put it up on Facebook. It's like I'm making excuses before we play the song.
That's bad.
We walk out on stage right now, and I have every confidence in my singer, knowing that he's going to hit everything, because he does it consistently at rehearsal, at shows. I walk out with the complete confidence, and he's like the little humble dude. He's just like, yeah, well, we'll see how it goes kind of night.
Yeah,
right.
And I know, as soon as we hit the stage, and if there's people up front or whatever's going on in the bar fights lately for us, but
you play that metal music, that's what happens.
I swear, every time we play Jimbo's, there's a bar fight that clears out half the place.
That sucks.
Where's Jimbo's?
That is right across the street from the East Moline Police Station.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, no, I know where that is. Yeah.
They don't have far to go when we play. Yeah, they just walk across the street and clean the house out, and then we're done for the night.
God, was there a Jimbo's in Burlington a long time ago?
I don't know.
I just remember at that place I had, because I have a big rack. I had a big 8-space rack thing with the
space shuttle rack system,
the PV 120 stereo fucking tube power amp and the Rockmaster and all this shit. And I had set that on top of my cabinet, on top of a slant PV cabinet, and it was sitting on there. And the girlfriend at the time thought she'd help wheel it out, so she starts wheeling. And the dance floor was smooth, right? But then I had to transition to carpet.
So she hit it and it did a topple.
But she pushed it sideways. She wasn't pushing it long ways. That might have made it over, but she was pushing it sideways long ways.
And it just went.
And it went. And she's like, and she's pushing it by the rack that's on top of the cabinet. And she's like, I'm helping. Bam. And that fucking thing, boom, on its face on the fucking. I'm like, and I started to twitch. And I was like, God damn, I'm gonna have to kill you, bitch. Anyway, don't ever move anything.
So anyway, and by the way, she just moved away. It's not like Brian actually did anything.
I haven't seen
it. It was all fine.
Yeah.
Her family, wants to know where she's at, but we don't know anything. It's fine. No, that sucks.
Duck Creek. No.
Snapping
No,
turtles.
we don't hide bodies. We don't hide bodies.
No, we don't.
But anyway,
we throw them in pigs.
the kicker of the gig is, check this out. Before we played, Night Ranger was across the street, and they were playing at the Waterford. What is that place called over there? The Waterfront place in Bettendorf.
Bettendorf?
Right by the Purgatory there.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I can't remember.
People know. So they were playing there, and we're making it through the gig, man. And I kind of turn around to get a drink off of Hazen's amp, and I look and I'm like, God damn, that dude looks like Brad Gillis.
Oh shit.
And then a couple songs later, Hazen goes, Brad, come here. He goes, that's Brad Gillis back there. He just gave me a guitar pick. And he stood there. Brad Gillis watched from the back of the stage for an hour.
No shit.
That's awesome.
So he's standing back there, and we got, and I know it's him, so now I'm extra putting it on, right? You know, I'm like, God, I got to sing good, man. Now I'm snorting nasally, you know, all that stuff. And,
hiding in the bathroom.
And I got to play guitar, because usually in our set, I get to play like Round and Round and some Van Halen song, Panama or something. So I'm really putting it on. I'm like, I'm going to be a Night Ranger.
Dude, yeah.
Nice. You know, anyway.
Fire Jeff Watson, that other guy's a hack. I'm going to get in the band.
Yeah. And so we get off stage, and I try to say hi to him and stuff. And he's cool. He's been cool. He's like, I could hear your band from the hotel, and I just walked off, and there's sound guys with him. He's like, yeah. He never walks off. He never leaves the hotel room. And we just couldn't find him, and we came here and we found him, and he just
make him sound like
off.
he's like an Alzheimer's patient or something.
Well, no, he just was like, I'm just gonna wander off and see what's going on over there. And so it was interesting,
weird, like a regular person.
It was interesting. I got a picture with them, but the person that took the picture said he'd send it to me, and
fucking
he hasn't sent it to me yet. But anyway,
bullshit,
that's pretty
kind of cool, man.
Yeah, that is cool.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah,
that's a great
when
story.
you play covers, so
it's a brush
you know,
with, it's a brush with stardom. I mean, that qualifies. That qualifies as a brush with stardom. Childhood heroes, you know.
And of course,
the fact that you kept them there for an hour.
Yeah, that's
two thumbs up right there.
Gillis was in Ozzy for like a live record, right? He wasn't really on a record.
Speak of the Devil.
Speak of the Devil, which is a live record.
Which was mostly Black Sabbath.
It was all Black Sabbath.
The album was.
Right.
The album was all Black Sabbath.
Which is now been removed from Ozzy's discography.
Really?
Yes, it is completely removed. He doesn't even acknowledge that album anymore.
That sucks. And it was a bad time.
It was a great album,
It was a great album. That was really like the first Whammy Bar album for a lot of people. That was the first Floyd Rose album for a lot of people,
awesome.
man. He fucking destroyed it.
Yeah, I wish I could find it again.
And so the funny part is, though, you know, it's kind of funny to me because I understand the life. But he's standing back there, and the sound guy's like, so, wife called you yet? And he's like, no, she hasn't called me. Usually she's called me at least 6 times by now after a gig, you know what I mean? See what I'm doing. And I was like, all right, it's like that all over the place.
Yeah,
man. Okay, yeah.
You know what's kind of weird? I've been thinking about this lately, and it kind of reflects on fame in public life and how people who are famous have to guard themselves in ways that, you know, we don't have to guard ourselves because of the idea that at any moment, if, you know, the right group of fanatics are near them, they'll fucking physically maul them and put them in all kinds of awkward situations and all this kind of stuff. But, you know, since the advent of things like Facebook and the other social media, I think more people understand that than used to. I think more people understand that feeling that goes along with knowing that at any moment you could do or say something in public that will just completely fuck you over. You know what I mean? That'll just completely like make your life kind of hell in a way for a while, you know? Like everybody is sort of figuring out in some small way what it's like to be famous now. And it's just a weird, but it's in little doses. It's not like, you know, like people like the Beatles or something. But it's just in this small way, there's this kind of comparison between one and the other. And I think in a certain way, the destruction of the music industry as we know it has sort of de-elevated the status of all these people that were once, held aloft.
Because all of the stars now have to act like they have a presence on social media. So you're going through Facebook, you're like, Nikki Sixx, today sucks. I don't know. I talk to Nikki Sixx all the time.
Yeah,
you know? It's probably not even him.
Totally.
But they have to do the tweets and they have to do all the shit. So they have to be part of, you know, engage with the audience. I liked the days where, you know, if somebody walked in that was famous, it was a big deal. It just seems like you could talk to them anyway. I guess they seem so approachable now.
That's right. Yeah. The lines of communication have been democratized. It's made it so that there's no real echelon of
there's no mystery behind any of them.
No, and not at all. Not at all.
It used to, because I remember when I would go see bands play, it was like, man, I wonder what it would be like talking to that guy, or, you know, I'd love to talk gear with that guy.
Oh, yeah.
And you know, you have no way of ever doing that.
Absolutely not. And if you walked up to him and started trying to talk to him about it, there's no way that you could regard each other as peers.
Right.
You know, you can't really have that equal conversation. You know what I mean?
I had that once down in South Florida at the Button South. Skid Row was recording Slave to the Grind. And they used to come into the bar all the time. So here I'm walking into the Button South, and there's Scotty from Skid Row hanging at the bar. I wandered over, I sat down next to him, and nobody was bothering him. I guess either they didn't know who he was, or they just
were keeping their distance,
like most of us probably should. And I sat down and I started talking to him about guitars and stuff, and we just got into this huge conversation about amps, what he's using, and the gear that he's got on stage, and what it's like to keep all his gear, going through the tours and stuff. Right. It was the most real conversation I've ever had from musician to musician.
That's cool, man.
And it was really, really cool. And I was thinking to myself the whole time, like, I can't believe I'm talking to this guy. I can't believe I'm
talking to this dude.
It's like, holy shit, I am talking to Scotty. And he's not blowing me off.
Right.
He's actually, like, engaged in a conversation because I said gear and boom.
Yeah. Conversationally speaking, I mean, it is kind of the whole, music store lick sort of idea that, that there is sort of something that can happen between people that are famous and people that are not famous. If there is something that you lead with in the conversation that establishes you as somebody that is not just the ordinary Joe Blow off the street that doesn't know
I didn't
shit
walk
about
up
shit.
and blow sunshine up his ass.
Right.
I walked over and I was
really
like,
so great. And man, I met my woman when we were listening.
Yeah, no. That
you don't want to
conversation
say
didn't
that.
happen at
no,
all.
Not at all.
It was just talking about gear, what types of strings he was using, the picks, because I was a Jazz 3 pick user, and I had always had one in my pocket, pulled one out. He's like, oh, cool, let me try that. And he kept it.
Cool.
And I don't know if he ever switched to him, but the fact was,
I played him for
I had
a while.
nice conversation with this guy. And I didn't feel like I was just getting, blown off at all. He was really engaged in the conversation.
That's terrific. And it's marvelous to think that people who are considered to be these sort of, untouchable authorities or magnates, on any given issue might still be able to not think of themselves that way enough in order to make it so that they can have potentially fruitful interactions with people who, maybe they, quote unquote, shouldn't have any business having a conversation with or whatever. I think one of the things that's bothersome about the idea of the classic version of fame, where nobody's equal, you got these people up here and these people down there, and nary the twain shall meet, is the idea that really it sort of robs the famous people of being able to interact with just anybody, But that's why grunge became the way it is.
Yeah. And that's why grunge took over the entire market.
Yeah.
You had these untouchable, I am incredible musicians.
Right.
And you couldn't get to them kind of feel. Right. Everything was larger than life. And then in comes street level players.
Totally.
And, the Seattle scene destroyed that 80s part, but it brought in this whole we're real people kind of scene. And I actually dug it. I was really into a lot of the stuff.
Yeah, me too.
And I had a really good friend who...
Brian's like, fuck this.
No, man, that stuff was... All right. You cannot tell me that Soundgarden was not a good band.
I never said that they weren't a good band. I think that they're an awesome band. I mean, but you're talking about a band that still had a good vocal, and so they didn't have the solos that I liked anymore. But that Chris Cornell could fucking sing.
Yeah, but look at what happened with Nirvana.
Is that his name?
Chris Cornell.
I always say the wrong name. So
you got it right. That Chris Compton, he was just amazing with the sound.
I was working I was working in a music store in Florida as a teacher and repair and doing all that shit. And the influx of kids that came in when Nirvana hit, I want to play guitar.
Well, because anybody, was the fucking...
It could.
Yeah. Even the losers are lucky sometimes.
Yeah, right.
You're right.
I'm just saying the underdog could win still. You could be like the kid in school with the greasy hair and shit and be a rock star.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
It brought it to that level. It brought more kids into music. It brought the whole reality of music back into it.
I think so too.
And
focused the camera.
I was a little pissed off that there was no more really crazy shreddy solos. Okay, I got over it pretty quick.
Not even just shreddy solos, but just good tone solos that sound in key. You know what I'm saying? Where you could tell that the guitar player was a practiced musician, not just somebody that figured out a few chords and could write songs over it. Now there's some value in that too.
I used to think that way.
Okay.
Then I really started listening to the music. Okay, go back. Let's move ahead a little bit to Green Day. All right. Think about how well thought out that album Dookie was. You listen to it. Listen to his tone. It's actually pretty good.
It's Marshall fucking
It is standard
dude.
80s tone applied to a modern day sound at that moment. The songs were well written, even though the solos were kind of crappy and out of key, but that was the idea behind what he was doing. Everything had its place, and the music took them from a shitty band into Green Day that we all know, but it also showed kids that, hey, I can learn 4 chords and I can make $1 million, or I could at least try.
Yeah.
And it brought so many people into music.
It did.
And from my point of view as a teacher, damn, that's cool.
Yeah.
Because if you can make somebody want to play guitar, whether you suck or not, who cares? You just got somebody into music.
I get
like
it.
that.
Yeah,
I love that.
Yeah. Well, fuck both of you guys, because I always get sold out, man. It's like I always get sold as the dude that's like still stuck in Whitesnake or something. You know,
Right, dude.
that's not true. It's not true.
I mean,
People
look at the
thought
way
that
I
about
play.
me, though, too. People thought that about me.
The
dude.
three of us are competent players.
Yeah.
We're practiced. We do our thing. And I still, every night, we were talking about this earlier before you got here. I practice every night. I go over everything that I'm supposed to do as a player. I keep my alternate picking in shape.
Yeah.
My arpeggios are in shape. But that's because I want to.
Right, yeah.
It has nothing to do with I'm going to go out there and impress everybody. It's because I want to do that because I feel better about myself as a player if I'm practiced. But if some kid walks into the store and starts wailing away on something, may not be technically great, but you know what? If the kid's got feeling and emotion behind what he's doing it right.
I get it, man. I'm with you. I'm with you.
Yeah.
But I am into things like mixed martial arts. I'm into things like the NFL, things that are precise, and that if somebody can't hold their own because they're going to get, you're going to see it.
Right.
See, now coming from my background and with my teachers and everything that I had, everything was precise. Everything is practiced.
Well, that's how we came up as guitar players. I mean, come on, you didn't pick up a guitar to try to suck.
No, but
you
I'm
picked
not
up a guitar to try to win the contest.
Yeah.
Remember, in our day, it was contests.
I
and
have
best
never
guitar
been in a
players.
contest.
It was always based
I've done
around it.
3 times.
I have never been in a guitar
It doesn't
contest.
matter because I lost because Scott
My
Whitehall
hat's
would have
off
whipped
to you.
all
Oh,
our
yeah, I
asses.
know.
My hat's
just
off.
like he always did.
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah.
But I cannot make myself view a player who's not as good as me as a bad player. There's somebody who just does something different.
Oh,
Yeah,
I get
right,
it.
yeah.
And I think that's the teacher in me coming out.
Sure, yeah.
By you saying that, it's kind of assuming that I do think that.
No.
Okay, we're not about me anymore.
It is minor disturbance radio.
Okay, because
last time I checked.
I mean, there's something in the back of your head that knows that they don't play as fluently as you. I mean, I'm one of them. I mean, you could tell that I don't play as
Because
fluently
I'm an
as
anal
you.
retentive asshole and I always practice.
But I have my own way of
yeah.
playing.
Right.
I'm not a very learned guitar player like what you are, and
But
maybe
you
Travis
totally
maybe.
shred.
Yeah, I know, but
It's
I mean,
he's halfway in between. He's like the street guitar player, street shredder.
The best thing that I did when Brad Gillis was watching me play guitar is, when you like grab the guitar and you slide the low E all the way up like past the octave and like that big bend. That fucking big white snake bend.
Yeah.
I picked the guitar a couple times. It wasn't about like to me. It was just like the aggression on the guitar and the confidence of it and the controlling it.
It's I'm choking this thing, dude.
Right. Yeah. And when you hold that note and you just bend that thing just right and just you're feeling it, and you're grabbing the guitar and holding it up and using the weight of the guitar to bend the string. It's like things like that. That's just
you feel the physics of it, the physicality of it. And I get that, man. I get that.
That's the emotion in what you're doing as a player.
I'm
the
with that.
audience sees that better than because I can do that all day. I sit in my room. I sit in here sometimes and just practice. Years before we had kids, I used to. And my girlfriends would always be like, "Are you done? You want to watch TV yet?" And I'm like, "Did you not just fucking hear what I was just doing,
did some
man?"
amazing
And they're
shit.
like, "Yeah, can you play like some Carrie Underwood?"
Yeah, right.
'Cause that's all.
No.
They can't tell if you're good or bad. So once I realized that, like girls really, most girls, I'm not gonna put them all in one. I'm not gonna profile whatever. Anyway.
Right, you're just not going to get into gender stereotypes.
Right, I'm not going to stereotype anybody, but I'm just saying that a lot of times girls don't know that what it takes to do some of that stuff and the practice it takes to do it. They'd rather just hear a guy sing about them.
Yeah, why should they? Because
I don't give a shit. I play for me.
Yeah.
And that's why, let's go back a little ways here. I don't know if you know this, but when I first moved here, I came out to audition for Drop Hammer.
Oh, really?
I was going to try to avoid that.
Why? I had a blast.
Okay, that's cool.
Dude, there was no hurt feelings whatsoever. This guy wants me to play his solos pretty much note for note.
Right.
It's his show.
Yep.
It's his band. Okay.
It wasn't my solos, it was Jeff Styles solos,
Jeff
actually.
Styles.
And you know
solos,
what?
yeah.
I can't do that.
Right.
I don't play people's solos note for note, which is, again, a reason why I love the band I'm in, because they're like, dude, do what you do, hit the right parts, and do what you do.
Which weird. I am the same way. I have real trouble note for noting
because
solos.
it takes away from who I am as a player.
Right.
If I've got to play somebody else's stuff.
Right.
And I couldn't do it with that. And quite honestly, I think we both agreed that I wasn't a good fit. And I walked away from the situation with Number one, I met a singer who fucking kicked ass.
Cool.
Jerry turned out to be a great guy and a great friend.
Who'd you
Fucking
meet?
awesome dude.
Huh?
What singer are you talking about?
Oh, I'm talking about you, dude.
I thought you were talking.
You've
I was
got
like,
the full
who
package.
was at our practice that sings good?
No, dude, you got the full package. See, I can't sing, so playing guitar is what I can do. You can sing and play guitar, so it was like, and I meant it when I said it that I looked up to you as a peer because you can do that, and I couldn't.
Yeah.
And when I walked away from the situation, it was more of a learning experience for me because I really realized I hate playing other people's shit.
Yeah.
I just don't like
Yeah.
it, and it
we
wasn't
can
going to work.
we can sense that too.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing. We talked about that on one of the episodes. Is like if you ain't fucking head on in,
Right.
then we're gonna take it as that's not the dude, because we could tell when people are like, dude, I have to fucking do this. This is the band I want to be
Yeah,
in.
yeah, where it's down deep.
If it's like, I don't know, I kind of learned a couple parts of that one song. What's it called? Shock the Brave or Walk
Whatever.
with the Drop Hammer.
Something.
Whatever the fuck you guys do.
something like that.
Something like that. You know that they're not invested.
Yeah, right. That's true.
But they're still great players, and we knew that if anybody was going to be able to pull it off, it was going to be Carducci. You know what I mean? And plus, he had the long hair, and we would look like Testament. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right, dude.
It would have been totally great. It would have been even worse than it was. You know,
Yeah.
with more hair. You know what I
yeah.
mean? That's what we needed.
But
more hair.
It was a great experience, and
Yeah.
I walked away from it with no ill feelings whatsoever.
I felt bad because.
Oh, you had no reason to feel bad.
But
It
I
wasn't
did
the right
because
guy.
I felt like maybe,
You did come a long way, though.
but I don't think that we
Yeah.
were real nice about it.
I remember nothing about that.
Okay, because
I walked away from it going, man, I like those guys.
right,
It's
and
too bad.
I'm
I
glad that
couldn't
you
be
walked
in
away with it like
band.
that, because my take on it was like, man, I hope that I wasn't in Brian mode, because back then, man, let's be honest, I was,
I've heard about Brian Mode. I have yet to meet Brian Mode.
well, everybody knows when we were younger, we were a little bit different. So, and especially when you're around your peers, like I'm with Jerry Smith and Terry Hodges, and then them are my brothers. You know what I mean? And,
Oh, hell yeah.
And for an outside, I would hate to go audition for a band that's already been established and kind of they're looking for a carbon copy of somebody that they already had in you, and then it limits you to be you.
Right, and that's why
I would hate that
okay,
situation
no, I
too.
can't
You
do
know?
it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And that,
unless it's docking, I'll take that position right now.
It's the stance of honesty, and the only time that I ever note for note a solo is when I really think that that's what I would have wanted to do. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But then the rest of it, like when we did the MDR jam, there was a part in the middle of the solo on the Judas Priest song where he taps, and I didn't like that.
Man,
So I didn't do it. I liked the other stuff that he did. I thought it was neat.
Yeah,
So I
didn't
learned it
notice
that
it.
way, But then, nope, I just
Wouldn't
did
notice.
something else during that part and then came back in. Because the other stuff I thought was a lot more melodic and a lot more richly thematic, and I could get behind it. I could support it.
Yep, there
but
you
then
go.
that one thing, that was a period piece. That was him putting something in here that he thought needed to be in a solo during that time.
Gotcha.
And I could tell it stood apart from the rest of the solo and didn't make any sense, so it was gone.
Yeah,
You
the
know?
only solo in my band that I cover note for note is the second solo in Highway Star. Because
yeah.
it is perfect.
It is perfect, dude.
There's nothing I could do to make that a better solo, so I leave it the way it is. But the first solo, the keyboard solo, I go absolutely ballistic on.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's what makes it fun. And that's me as a player, though.
Yep.
I play for me. I don't play for anyone else in the audience because, quite honestly, I'm going to make me happy.
Yeah.
I
up.
I really miss having two guitar players in a band. Like I said, it was so hard for us to find another guitar player that wanted to do it and that could do it
And didn't have to wear a wig.
and didn't. Yeah. Well, see, no, I told you this.
Did you really make him wear a wig?
The 4 and 10. He was not interested in drop hammer, but we were interested. I think I was like, Travis is cool. Look, I remember looking at you going, I don't care. I don't care that you don't have long hair, because you had them weird like braids sticking out the top of your head, and I was like, we need something like that in our band to make us legit, man.
Yeah, that'll legitimize us. We'll be like corn.
Was that when you were hanging out with Worm?
Yeah. I still hang out with Worm, by the
Okay,
way.
cool.
He's
Man, I
still my
miss that
bass
guy.
player. I love Worm, dude.
Yeah, we
my
needed
God,
somebody
brother.
with like a pink mohawk or something.
Yeah, he was our last guest, wasn't he?
No,
We
our
don't
last
remember
one was
I thought it was
Bleach. We
Rand-
had
yeah,
Bleach.
yeah.
on.
That's right.
you
It
had
was
Randall
Bleach,
on,
right?
yeah.
And then before that, it was Worm.
Right.
That's right.
Before that.
So Worm's still around, man.
Excellent.
He's still playing his wall bass, and he's still playing him through vintage Ampegs, much to the
Excellent.
chagrin of the drummer, but much to my delight.
Excellent. I dig
So
it.
it's great.
I dig it.
How did you come to be like a working on guitars guy? I mean, how does one learn all that stuff?
Oh my god, dude! I was that kid who walked into the music store and was just the kid that never left. I was furniture. We had this music store 3 blocks from my house, and mind you, I've been playing since I was 8. So by the time I was old enough to ride a bicycle those 3 blocks, my ass was in that store all the time. And the 2 guys, Stipe Brothers, a banjo shop. This place was awesome.
Cool.
They'd have Sunday jams. They'd close the store, and they all go into the back of the store with this little grassy area, and they just have jams. Anybody could show up and play. They just
that sounds
come on
awesome.
in. Let's play. We'll get a bonfire going, and we'll all just play.
Cool.
And I was that kid that took his shit apart all the time. I'd take my guitar apart and be like, I don't know what I'm doing. So I'd pack it all up in a gig bag. I'd ride up to the store, and the guy'd be like, what the fuck did you do now? And it got to the point where I had brought it so many times. He's like, come here. And he brings me back to the bench, and he's like, let me show you what you did. And then it turned into him showing me more. And then it turned into my ass being there every day after school. I'd walk into the store, and he'd be like, hey, come check this out. And he'd show me what he was doing. And that kind of sparked my fuel to start building guitars and taking stuff apart even more. And it blossomed into that. I just started reading up on it and finding out more about lutherie, and just boom, I got some training with this guy.
Is there any like internet sites you can go to kind of learn some stuff?
No.
Because I have a friend that asked about, they're retired from work and they don't have anything better to do, so they're just like, I need a hobby and I'd like to work on guitars, but I don't want to fuck a neck up, you know what I mean? It's like, just start wrenching on shit,
There's a lot of sites that'll give you some basic information, but actually learning, a lot of it's got to be hands-on from somebody who knows.
Yeah.
My first job working as a repair tech, I interned for a long time with the guy before he ever let me do the bench myself. But he would actually test me on stuff constantly. He'd be like, all right, what's the distance here? Start doing the string test and setting intonation and stuff, and he wouldn't even let me touch a strobe tuner for like 3 years.
What I like about when you work on guitars is you actually post the guitars that you're working on.
Oh, hell yeah.
No matter what guitar it is, and you kind of show respect for whatever they bring in.
It's equal
because
time.
I gotta be honest, I love Hartfield Talons, and everybody's kind of up my ass about it, like, oh, there's Brian and his Hartfield Talons.
No, but
and
those
here I am
are
posting
guitars.
first act guitars.
Yeah, right.
They're what?
I'm posting like first act guitars and stuff.
Yeah,
Sears specials.
First Act made a shitload of money when they got the Walmart deal and started making some good guitars. So,
well, whenever I bring my guitar in anywhere, they go, "What is this? What is it? It's a Hartfield." Yeah, it's made by Fender. What? When did that happen?
Oh,
most people don't understand what it is, and then I'm like, look, it's one of them guitars. When I was picking a guitar to play, I didn't want to be a Strat guy. I didn't want to be a Les Paul guy. I didn't want to be like the run of the mill, let's pick the top 4 fucking flavors of ice cream guy.
Yeah.
I wanted to pick my own guitar. I would have played Harmony if I could find one that was kick-ass enough.
Although
just something that I could make my own.
Right.
But
and so that's what I did.
But wasn't the first Hartfield Talon that you got, wasn't it because you won a guitar contest? It came in second or something like that?
It was like second place, and they gave me like a super low model Hartfield Talon.
That's pretty cool,
but
man.
Yeah, that is cool, because I mean that is the way that Dimebag Darrell got his first Dean.
And
and his first Randall amp.
Here's how it went for me. Mom bought me a Hartfield, Mom bought me a Harmony, JCPenney Harmony black Strat copy, and that was my first real electric guitar.
Excellent.
So I played on that for years. I learned all of my old 80s, all the Kiss songs I ever learned, all that stuff was on that fucking guitar, and it was a piece of shit. It was plywood, but I played it like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
Everybody was like, "You're awesome," because I was getting good at it.
Yeah.
But it was good guitar, and then I was like, you see the magazines, you see the Warren DeMartini, all them guys with Charvels, and I saw the word Charvel, and I was like, I have to have one of them. That's the guitar I want. I want a Charvel. And my mom said, hey, if you can get a B average for the whole semester, we'll go right into the music shop and I'll buy you the Charvel.
Nice.
She had no idea how much Charvels were at the time.
Wow.
So, but I did it. I did the B average thing, and we marched up. I can't remember. I think we had to go to Silvis or something to get a Charvel.
Right,
I can't remember where we
It would
went.
have been Music Mart. If it was Silvis.
Yeah, we had to go to like
Music Mart.
Silvis to get it.
Yeah.
And she had to use like 2 credit cards to buy that model 2
my
Charvel
God.
right there.
Jeez.
It was
Oh, the red one?
$1,100 on the wall. Wow. That's when that was cool though.
Yeah.
And it had electric blue, black, and that color, burgundy,
red.
and so I'm like standing there, which one do I want? And I think I initially picked out like the Model 6, which is like a double pickup, and all that, all that stuff.
Neck through.
Yeah.
The Model 6, I think, was neck through.
Yeah, but then when
it was like the Shannon Soloist, it was just the Charvel
that one was like $2,000 though.
Yeah.
And then they had the magazine. I was staring at anyway. I saw Lynch single pickup, one knob. Morning Martini single pickup, one knob. I'm like, if they can do it all with that. That's what I need.
Yep.
And then that guitar, I played that for years and years and years and years and years and years and years.
That's the guitar I met you with.
And then I won that contest with that. And then they gave me that Hartfield, and I then had a Hartfield that played like an Ibanez Gem.
Yeah.
So now you got a different neck altogether, and now my playing changed. I was like, I'm better on this guitar. It's spread the distance and the string. I just by chance figured out that that's the kind of guitar I like to play. Well, I started buying them like they were going out of
I remember
like they were going out of style.
They were going out of style, exactly. But I mean, that's the thing. For the viewers out there that don't know a little bit about the history of the Hartfield Talon, if you care at all, they were a guitar that was made during a partnership between Fender and Hoshino, which is the factory that manufactures Ibanez guitars, and they were going to try to make a American branded Ibanez guitar with Fender behind it.
Well, let me ask you this. Was this to compete with the like 80s shred stuff because they weren't selling Strats at the time?
Yeah, because there was no American Strat for a decent period of time during the 80s, which is kind of a strange fact. And
they were all Japanese.
They were all Japanese, and they had tried to make a guitar that had a standard Fender headstock called the HM Strat, which I'm sure you've seen some of those.
Which was the Showmaster series.
The Showmaster series. There you go, man. Did not know that.
But they had one.
But they had the lock nut behind the other nut, which was weird. And
the
they
Kaler
had
style.
And then the Kaler copy of, but it was a Kaler floater. I mean, it wasn't like the standard like Kaler Spider style. It was like a Kaler knockoff of an actual Floyd Rose, but it didn't do that well. And I think it was because it had a Fender headstock, and everybody wanted pointy headstocks.
Right. Tony McAlpine used them for a little bit.
That's right. Tony McAlpine.
I remember him hawking those in all the guitar magazines.
That's right.
I picked one up, and it's okay.
Yeah, they're not bad guitars.
It's all right. It's rosewood board, though. I'm too much of a maple guy to like it.
And those were USA guitars. They were USA guitars. Whereas all of the made in Japan Fenders at that time, they had transitioned. There was this thing going on with the United States where they didn't want to put American names on foreign-made guitars, and Fender was one of the first companies to just go ahead and whore out the name and start producing guitars that said Fender on the headstock in Japan. And Hoshino, the company that manufactures Ibanez guitars, was the factory that did that stuff. Although I think it's arguable that during that time, Hoshino was actually making superior instruments. I mean, there were some really great guitars. I think the fretwork was better on those Japanese production guitars during that time than the United States guitars. Save for maybe the custom shop.
Okay, I'll give you that.
Save for maybe the custom shop.
I'll give you that.
All right.
But being such a Fenderite...
Here I am talking shit on your home. Don't talk shit on my home, Travis.
You see, but they're such different instruments, though.
They're very different.
A Fender, you really gotta, if you set it up right, you've gotta fight it just right.
You're right about that.
And you'll get everything you need out of that guitar.
You're right about that.
Where when I pick up an Ibanez-style instrument with the flat radius board, it does change the way you play.
It certainly
Without
does.
a doubt. It does give you a little bit of a different way that you need to attack an angle when you get up past the 12th fret. Whereas I grew up with a Strat in my hands, so...
Well, you're used to that almost kind of like violin-like picking approach because of the way that the bridge saddles are radiused.
Yep. You're just going up and down.
And I think that really, for some people, like they're the way that they alternate pick sort of depends on the height differences between the strings. Whereas you get a lot less of that on the flatter radius guitar.
Absolutely.
You really have to then angle your pick toward and away from the guitar more. Either,
all I know is that when you play one guitar all the time, you kind of write the same way, and you kind of approach solos the same way. And then I remember somehow I acquired a Strat. It was a Mexa Strat, but whatever.
Cool.
And
green card.
Yeah, I traded a Jackson for it actually, for a Strat, because I just wanted a different guitar.
They're both Fender.
And as soon as I picked up the guitar and plugged it in, I wrote differently.
Yeah.
I remember just the sound of it and the way it played. I was like, I wanted to do something different, a little bit less distortion and more just like zing. You know what I mean? As a matter of fact, the intro to our podcast, the that was a Strat.
Yeah, there you go.
That's what it made me do. I wanted to play like that. You know, like
for me, whenever I pick up a Telecaster, I've got a Telecaster. It's a pretty decent guitar, and I've got friends that got Telecasters. But whenever I pick up a Telecaster, I tend to write using very different types of chords. The chords just ring out different. They sound more harmonious to me on a Telecaster. I don't know what it is, man.
There must be something wrong with me because I play the same on everything.
You play the same on everything.
I usually do, yeah.
But you know what that might come from, though? If you grew up around lots of different guitars, which Brian and I didn't really. You know, if we were around lots of different guitars, it was because there were special circumstances. Yeah, exactly.
Or you went to Griggs and they told you, are you going to buy that or not?
And I think it has to do... I was going to actually bring this up when you were saying this earlier, that when you're really into practicing and you're practicing all the time, and you're switching between different guitars, sometimes you just feel like you're serving too many masters.
Yeah.
Like, you end up having to try to develop some sort of polyglot approach that doesn't take as much advantage of any of the specific characteristics of a guitar, because your approach is not really specifically inclined toward that guitar. Like, if I play a certain guitar for a while, my tone is different.
I completely disagree.
That's cool. That's cool.
I think your style is going to be with you no matter what guitar you pick up.
I don't disagree with that.
No, I don't.
I don't disagree with that.
And I've got... Okay, we talked about this a little bit. I've got over 60 guitars at home.
All right.
And I rotate them constantly. And I've got my show guitars, which are all my scallop board Strats. All the polka dots that everybody loves to make fun of, including Mark Dettel.
Yeah. We love you, Mark.
Which, by the way, where did the polka dots come from? I wanted to ask you that.
I am a huge Randy Rhoads fan. Always was. I was able to see Randy Rhoads when I was just a little kid. Got to see him play, and it changed how I thought about guitar. So, never really thought much about the whole polka dot thing until I started getting a little bit better as a player. And I started noticing that his V was just... It was awesome looking. I was like, oh, man, it's polka dot. That's cool. Yeah. Fender came out with the Buddy Guy model, which was the awkward polka dots.
Right.
And I was like, all right, I'm going to try this out. So I picked up the guitar. Turns out I love the neck on it. It's a hard V in the back.
Oh, weird.
Oh, I love it.
What?
Love it.
What?
Oh, man. So I got into
weirdo.
it. I am, man. I picked up the guitar and I was like, oh, my God, I got to have more of these. And it turned into me tracking down and getting all three colors that it came in, and now I'm painting guitars in that scheme.
Yeah, I've seen that.
I love them. I don't know why. The polka dots just kind of stuck with me.
Now, is the hard V neck really part and parcel to making those guitars for you? So if you make a new polka dot guitar, you're going to try to find the hard V neck.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Weird.
Absolutely.
Weird. Like, I remember the first hard V neck I ever played. It wasn't an electric. It was an Ovation acoustic. And it just, the way it was sitting in my hand, I just thought, God, I can barely operate this thing. How the F?
Yeah, you want to get out a belt sander and level it.
But that's what it was, is that at the time, I mean, it was pretty early on when I was playing. At the time, I was still sticking the back of the neck in here.
Yeah.
It was before I had really started
baseball batting that thing.
Before I really started getting the C thing going on.
It instantly puts my hand in the right position.
Yeah.
But
maybe I ought to give it another go.
But I still keep that shape whenever I pick up any guitar. I mean, I've got an ESP from '87 that it's an M2. It's the George Lynch one, but it's not his. I actually had it made, and it is. I think I brought it to Drop Hammer rehearsals. That was the orange one that I had brought, and that neck has the flattest back of the board you could ever play.
Just ultra flat.
Yeah.
So then you get this thing going on.
It's teeny tiny little neck, and it's scalloped on top of that, so there's just like nothing left. But my thumb still stays in the right position.
That's so you flatten your thumb. You're not a pointer.
It depends. I have Potter's thumb, so it wants to go backwards.
Yeah. Right.
So
I'm more of a use the tip of my.
But to get back to the subject, what we're talking about as far as to get back to the subject of what we're talking about, I think that the point that we're talking about is I don't know if you write a lot.
Oh yeah.
Okay, well, that's what I think what we're kind of talking about is like you pick up a different guitar and you kind of want to write differently. You kind of want to, you attack the guitar different and come up with a different, it gives you a new color to your palette in a way. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
But if what he's saying is true about himself, and please, I'm sure you will correct me if I'm wrong.
Okay.
But if what it is that you're saying about yourself is that your approach is so, and I'm going to use a 10-penny word here, is so univocal that the way that you approach every guitar is the same. You've equalized your approach to every instrument.
Agreed.
That it makes it so that whatever whatever the traits of that instrument are going to be weighed equally against your physical, your standard, your very stabilized physical approach to the instrument.
I agree.
Okay, right.
I completely agree.
But so, as a counterpoint to that, what Brian and I are saying is that there is actually a certain voice that the instrument has that is when the instrument's traits and tendencies are weighed unequally against an approach that you adapt to that instrument.
The nerd's
right?
going to come out in a second.
Okay, but you see what I'm, you see what I'm saying?
It's almost like changing the vocalist of your band in a way.
I kind of don't see it that way because you can make any guitar sound the way you want it to.
But why? It's good at certain things, and like once you see what they're good for, then you kind of want to go down that road a little bit.
Well, give me a Dying Fetus solo on a fucking jazz box.
Why not? Why not?
Because it's gonna go. Oh!
Stuff foam in that motherfucker. You won't have that problem. Okay, nerd time. Of all the guitars that you have hanging up on the wall, you know, I'm looking at them all. And the one that catches my eye the most is the RG with the maple board. RG flat radius board, maple board, so it's going to give you that little bit of a brighter tone.
It's the last guitar I pick up.
Okay, see, that'd be the first one I'd go right to.
Yeah, well, it's an original 1987 too. I mean, it's a real deal, but it's just basically the same thing as the Talon.
Okay,
but they're all rosewood.
So they're going to inherently have a darker
color
tone.
neck, butthole. Okay,
They're going to have that snap. They're going to have that.
You asked me, does Hartfield make it in a maple neck? And I was like, no. If they did, of course I'd have it. But because I play all them necks, and then I watch freaking Eddie Van Halen playing on maple, and I'm like, see, you wear the frets out, and you get all them little finger marks on the neck. That's all.
Okay.
That's all I want.
Wiry tone, dude.
If I've got an Ibanez, if I had that guitar in my hands to play a show, I would still make it sound like a Strat. Why? Because I don't play with my volume and my tone knob wide open the entire time. I roll things back. If you roll your volume back a little bit, the gain starts to go away.
Do something?
Oh, hell yeah!
I've been told about this. Please elaborate.
Okay. 500K pot probably in that one because it's a humbucker.
Yep.
Fenders have 250K pots.
That's true.
When you roll a 500K pot back, it starts to get a Stratty type tone just immediately. So if I need to have a Strat sound, I'm going to roll the volume back and I'm going to kick the tone down just a little bit. If I need to be wide open, stupid ass humbucker, I'm going to crank the volume up, but I'm going to roll the tone back a little bit and thicken it up. If you use the controls on any guitar, you can make it sound exactly the way you want. End of story.
Okay.
A Strat has a feel because of the radius on the neck and the way the body sits against your body.
So any guitar that you play, you're going to make it sound like you want it to sound
exactly the way I want it to sound.
So it's just a different shaped wood, and you're going to modify. You're going to do whatever you need to make it sound like the one sound that you're used to.
Then, but that raises a question. Then, what arguments then do you usually make in favor of this hardware configuration versus that hardware configuration? Like, why would it be important to have a humbucking pickup as opposed to a single coil, or a maple board as opposed to a rosewood board, or you know what I mean? Like, when
there's a lot of little arguments with that.
You know what I mean, though. You know what I'm saying?
And there's all these little characteristics.
All things being equal.
In a live setting, I don't know how much of it's going to really matter.
I totally agree with that.
If I'm recording and I want something that's going to sound jazzy, I'm going to pick up a hollow body and I'm going to roll the tone back and I'm going to get that thump.
Yeah, right.
If I want a Stratty type tone in a clean setting, I'm going to grab a Strat and locate it on the middle pickup and I'm going to just back the volume off.
Yeah.
In a live setting, all my guitars are set up the same.
Yeah.
And they all react the same when they're going through my amp.
But in a general enough way that when you're playing, since you're, and I am just so guilty of this. Like, I spent so many years, like, with, palm muting with one hand, right? Ear in the speaker.
Trying to find your tone.
And then hand up on the knob, trying to get that exact thrum, you know what I mean?
But I'm going to totally edit your voice saying, I'm whacking off.
And I'm tweaking her nipples, and it's horrible. And they're calling me tasty cakes and shoving pine cones in my ass. Anyway,
so...
Is that a Hitler reference?
Well, here.
It might be.
I never even knew why they put
Little
more,
Nicky.
Yeah. Pineapples in your ass, yeah.
I pick up the guitar. If it has a 5-way switch, what do I need the other fucking 3 for? Because I need bridge and neck for sweeping arpeggios with the neck, and the bridge for squeaks. And I mean, come on, I'm a basic guy. If I accidentally didn't get it all the way down or all the way up, I'm like, ugh, and I'd fucking, I'd be pissed.
If what he's saying is true. If what you're saying is true, it shouldn't matter to you at all whether you're playing through an amp that's completely clean or distorted beyond belief. It should not change anything about how you're doing what you're doing.
Absolutely.
See, and I've never been there. I don't see how. I don't know why, but
I don't rely on a guitar to have a certain sound. I rely on myself.
Right. And see, in me, I rely on myself in order to get the certain sound to make it so I can do what I can do.
You're a tone ranger, forever chasing that sound.
Yeah, absolutely. And and I have at various times achieved, I think, some really great sounds on my quest. That I don't like. There's always this idea of a guy who goes and takes the nail polish and like paints in a little line, like turn the knob to here, right?
Yeah. Every time,
because this is the way it works, right? And then every time, and then it doesn't matter, and that ignores the possibility that sometimes, even though you've got those physical values set on the knobs, that there might be other conditions that are affecting the way things respond.
Like playing outdoors.
Outdoors
like
changes
playing on
everything.
a generator.
Yeah.
Things like this. And this is the sort of stuff that would like keep me up at night. You know what I mean?
Gosh, no, dude.
We
just did that outdoor gig, and my amp, I'm running a Carvin MTS 3200, so it's a 100-watt all-tube amp.
Okay.
Best amp they've ever made, by the way.
Cool.
Blows the Legacy out of the water.
Awesome. Which I thought the Legacy was a good amp.
It is, but it's not quite. It doesn't have as much headroom as the MTS.
That's right. It doesn't. It creams out.
And my volume has never passed 1.
Really? Just
running 2 Marshall cabs. My volume sits at 1. Okay. Cool. My volume was on like 2.5 at this outdoor show because my sound wasn't there.
That's where you start to get into. That's when
spread out.
And the amp at 2.5 changes dynamically, like dramatically. And you start to find out, you're like, what the fuck?
I had to find that creamy zone on stage where I could hear the band and my amp at a decent level. Once I found it, though, I was fine. When I change settings on my amp, it's always the volume. And I adjust the volume to the show.
Leave the EQs alone.
Everything's the same.
Don't touch the gain.
I have no reason to.
Right. Well, I mean, it's like,
because I'm
now, do you stack up your cabs?
Nope.
Okay, so
side
now
by
when you
side.
No, that's smart.
And I do that too. But hear me out. When you're standing up, you are now off in front of it, behind you. You're now off axis, and you're getting delay, and it's muting things. I always think to myself, man, I hope the chicks in the front row aren't hating this. You know what I mean? Like, to me, where I'm standing right now, this sounds amazing. This is it. But dude, I stick my ear in the speaker and it sounds like fucking garbage.
Yeah, but you walk out front in the PA and it sounds fantastic.
Yeah, exactly.
But you got to get over that. Yeah. I had to learn how to get over that because we played some shows and I thought my amp sounded completely terrible. But somebody was recording, and you listen to that recording, and it's like,
sounds great.
Oh wow, okay, I didn't realize my amp actually sounded that good. But I also do.
By the way, for the record, I am over it. Just so you know.
I do the L shape on stage.
Okay.
My cab, one cab is facing the audience, the second cab is facing the band.
Okay.
So when I walk out and in anywhere on the stage, I hear my tone.
Cool.
I always used to when I brought my 4 cabinets, I put them in the fuck you formation, which is fuck you guys, here it comes. Which is stacked up and facing the audience, man. Oh my God. And the sound man is usually like, you're gonna have to turn that down a little bit. I'm like, I got 4 cabinets, butthole. You don't even need to mic this thing.
Right. Sound reinforcements.
Awesome.
Reinforcement.
It don't need reinforcements.
That's right.
I enforced it with 4 cabinets.
I remember a guy saying, I remember a fucking sound guy one time, man. He like did a whole Slim Pickens, throwing down the whole horse shit. You know what I mean? My amp was just killing, and he was like, "You're blasting blah 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 DBs on the goddamn. I can't even keep you in the PA." And I was, "Well, take me out of the PA."
Was that Kenny?
I don't know. No. That could have been.
I rember the first thing once. I remember being naive coming into bands. You're like, all right, guitar, and you're like, this is my all right. Here, I don't know what's. Like, oh, hey, wait, whoa, turn that down. And you're like, well, you're used to band practice where you got to be loud enough to be over the drummer. So,
yeah.
And then down, and then you turn it down, and then pretty soon it's like, jing, jing, behind you. You're like, fuck this.
Sucks, dude. What's rock and roll about this shit?
Yeah, if you got a sound man, and then they bring it in the monitor. So, okay.
then you're good.
I never naive kids don't know that. You're used to the sound behind you.
No, you're not good.
Coming through the monitor, now you're coming through, you spend all this money on these great cabs and these great amps, now you're listening to a mic'd sound being put through a 12-inch cheap speaker and a cheap piece of shit monitor.
Awesome, great. I love great monitors.
Yeah, that's
amazing.
Lovely. That's lovely. So you want me to turn down my good amps and you want to pipe it through? Okay, but I never understood that. So I was always just like, nope. They're like, turn it down. I was like, no.
And of course, they were always like, we're not hiring him again.
Right. Well, adjust the system around that because I'm going to be loud as fuck.
You put your foot on the monitor, didn't you?
Yeah.
He did.
All the time.
Put his foot on the monitor, dude.
It's sometimes when you find out the monitor ain't one of them that you can actually put weight on, and you try to act cool like you just kicked or something.
Yep.
Like,
I just did that at
next song, I'm going to set it on fire.
The sound man actually told me, thank God, at Purgatory, he goes, now the monitor's on a road case in front of you. Do not try to stand on it because it is on wheels. And I didn't lock it down, so you will be rolling into the audience. So
you'll be like a bag lady with a shopping cart.
Thank you for telling me that because that just saved a disaster right there.
Done that dumb shit.
I did that at the last show, and the monitors were on milk crates.
Oh no!
So I put my foot on it, and it just went. It just moved back, and I was like, "Oh, I don't want over here."
Especially if those edges of those plastic milk crates were on some unforgiving,
even
substance.
over the music, I heard it. It's like, oh my God, Butch is gonna kill me.
It's like somebody's like, the tone on that fucking feedback you got on that note was awesome.
Dude, it sounds seriously.
You're gonna need a Swiss Valley milk crate and mic it with a 57.
Dude, whatever. This is a vintage Meadow Gold, 1979.
Wow, fantastical.
Yeah,
but I mean, it's typically nerdy shit.
Yeah, so this podcast took a dive. No, I have a lot of fun, man. And we always have fun doing these things, and I look forward to it, and I dread it at the same time because I'm like, are people getting what's going on here? Are they liking it? I don't fucking know, but it's hard to get people interested in anything anymore. But
too much information.
I mean, are you glad you came on and talked to us, man? I mean,
yeah, man.
I'm glad that you did too, man. So
and,
this is awesome.
And I know for a fact that we did not even barely scratch the surface of the stuff. Like I know you're very well educated. I know you've been in a lot of different musical situations. I know you know a lot more about the technical side of musical instrument repair, and it'd be awesome if you came back on sometime and we could.
Oh, I'd love to.
We
could totally geek out on guitar stuff.
We could just disagree with each other some more.
You can bring Brumberg too, so that he can give his every once in a while, like, yeah, whatever, man.
Oh, he's so gonna be mad.
I was in a band with him a couple times in a couple different things that we were trying to start up and shit. And I always liked Brumberg. We hung out forever. He turned me on to Dream Theater and all that stuff.
Right on.
He was listening to that and he had like a little truck thing and it was cranking Dream Theater. And I was like, what is this? He's like, the best shit ever, man. And I was like, you're right. I loved it. And but about Brumberg though, and I don't care. I'll just say how it is. I love the guy. Scared shitless of him. Because he's
a big teddy bear, man.
He is if you're on his good side. But I also worked with him at a place. I worked at Payless Cashways, was a lumber yard, and he was a truck driver. He delivered house packages and shit. And I remember one day he had a bad day. You know them panels, the 6-foot panels of fence, like they're wood, them big fuckers, like privacy fence.
Yeah.
He was like, apparently they were all something busted on him and they were broken. I just remember him standing on the flatbed, picking them up one at a time and throwing them. The big, huge industrial dumpsters.
Oh, yeah.
Like, he could lift them things and, like, throw them, like, 10 feet into the... He's like, fuck it and he's throwing a tantrum, and everybody's like, "Whoo, man, we're gonna just go over here for a while because
awesome.
If you walked up to him, he'd throw you in the dumpster too." He's just and at practice one time, we were working on something because we were back then we were trying to do like Megadeth and Dream Theater and all these stupid things, and we thought we were gonna take over, we're that naive, but the bands are like, "Man, wait till they get a load of this." You can play, because all we knew then was like, Lynn Allen was covering most top 40 stuff, so we're gonna be the head band that comes and takes over everything, and I remember we were working on something, he's behind the drums there, and pretty soon he just, stick in the snare, picks up the snare across the room.
I have not seen that ever.
Well, he used to have a little bit more of a temper then, because like maybe it was me. But I don't know.
You were pissing the man off, Brian.
He just had a temper, and it could be scary, but as long as it wasn't aimed at me, I was cool with it. I was like, yeah,
behind that, man.
But no, he's always been a great drummer. He's a good guy to be around. So anyway, I was in a band with him as well. So
right on.
And good
it's a
guy.
small little incestuous little community around here.
It is, and that's good.
It is. It's kind of good.
There's a lot of great guys around here that
a lot
play.
of STDs.
So when do you play again?
The 26th of this month is our only gig, and we're actually doing a benefit show for. Honestly, they're probably going to shoot me, but I forgot what it's for. I'm the guitar player. I show up and I play.
When is it?
It's the 26th of this month.
Okay.
It is a benefit show. It's actually on our Facebook on Stone Tattoos page.
Okay. Oh, that's cool.
Well,
man.
usually at this time, towards the close of the podcast, I would actually like do a Netflix pick or something like that. But my pick for what people need to watch, this is a great documentary. It's the Quiet Riot, Now That You're Here, There's No Way Back.
What?
Documentary.
I don't know about this.
It chronicles, obviously the career of Quiet Riot and Randy Rhoads and Rudy Sarzo and all that. And they go through all that stuff, and then they go up to Kevin DuBrow's death and all that. And then basically then it starts to get really good.
What?
Because then it's the search for the new singer.
That's right. It turned into a Spinal Tap type thing. For them.
Almost, man. Yeah.
That's on Netflix?
No, it's not. See, that's the thing. But you got to go find it. You got to go find it wherever it's at. I wish it was on Netflix.
Is it on YouTube?
Maybe
parts of it are on YouTube, and it's somebody like put a camcorder in front of the TV and tape.
But that's cheating.
Yeah, they're gonna. But you could, BitTorrent and all this shit. It's out there somewhere. Yeah. Or you could buy it. How about that? You could go to the site and buy it. I think it's only like $12 or something.
Why don't you support the artists?
It's totally worth it, man. Because my favorite part is when the drummer
Frankie Banali.
The favorite part is Frankie Banali, and they asked him why do you want to keep doing this, and he just said, because this is what I do.
There it is.
And I was like, you're damn right. And I was like, hey, baby, I'm booking more gigs, man. This is what I do.
This is what I do. Because this is what I do.
Yeah, this is what I do.
That's great.
Anyway, so the search for the new singer, and they had girls trying out. They had, the band sitting there like, and then there's one guy that just sounds like Kevin DuBrow on the record, perfect, nails it.
Amazing.
Right? But he looks like the guy that fixed my truck.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's kind of like, the guy that fixed my truck was actually a decent looking guy. I'm just saying, if you could envision it in your head.
We did start the podcast with talking about who fixed your truck. And if the dude tunes in, he was just now a little bit devastated.
I was just saying, just imagine the guy that you might assume is fixing your truck, okay? So, anyway.
Sometimes they're good looking, but if they're not good looking, it's like the guy that joined Quiet Riot.
Anyway, so it's a good watch, man, and Quiet Riot, what a legacy. I mean, they started the whole basic Sunset Strip movement, basically. And I mean, Randy Rhoads.
Was it the first heavy metal album to reach the charts?
Yeah, I mean, they got turned down by everybody. Yeah, it was just one of them things that, goddamn, it's cool, and a lot of unseen footage of On the Road back in the day, man.
Oh, cool.
And a lot of titties too. So like a lot of cool stuff on there. It
was like everything that happened like post Van Halen. In LA.
Yeah, it was really neat.
Because Quiet Riot was definitely there. I mean,
they were
part of that scene right there with Eddie.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so if you're interested in that, that's out there. Go check that out for sure. And
I will. So I want to see that.
It's interesting, man. It's interesting. I like it. And you go to Benally's house, and he's real close with Kevin DuBrow's mother, and he asked her if it was cool if they found a and she's like, shut up, man. It's just really interesting. And they talk about how they found Kevin DuBrow and what happened and all that stuff. It's a great documentary. Anyway, check that one out.
Awesome. I will.
So, anything else you want to say? What was your experience like on the MDR?
So far, it's been fucking hilarious. I love this. I get to talk gear.
It gets super depressing from here on out.
Yeah. Now it's like,
it's like the end of the skating party.
I think you didn't because I'm out of college.
You didn't do that. Everybody else. You didn't do the thing that everybody else does when they come in here, and they usually. I thought this was a lot bigger. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Wow, I didn't expect it to
and
be
every
on the
girlfriend
main
I've
level.
ever had, they say the same thing.
Oh, that's what she said.
No, but thanks for coming on, man. I appreciate it. I've always respected you, and
me too.
Same here, man.
You always do a great work, great work on my guitars. Even though I never bring them in anymore because Drop Hammer ain't playing or whatever band I play guitar in, so they just sit on my wall most of the time.
That's all right, man.
But if we ever do get a stupid gig, I'll bring you all the guitars again, and you can
problem. I'd be
set
glad
them
to
up the way
help.
they're supposed to be.
That's what I like.
Yeah, we didn't play a lick of guitar on the fucking show.
No.
I even brought music for you guys to hear, but I'll just leave that.
Well,
here.
you didn't tell me that.
Well, then why don't we
You
just
asked me to.
Well, why don't we?
Oh no, you asked
I
me
did.
to.
I thought it might be something that we might need.
No, that's all right. It's
But,
all right.
I mean-
Upper management never told me about this, so I wasn't prepared for it.
Right.
No, what music did you have for us?
Actually, I brought one Wraith song, and because I was thinking, all right, I'll bring something that you guys probably have never heard, and that was some of those tribute albums that Wraith did. So I brought one from the Van Halen tribute and one from the Def Leppard tribute.
What's your favorite one?
Of all of them, the Def Leppard one.
Okay,
Cool.
Well, maybe on the way out, when we do the sponsors on the way out of the podcast, we'll throw that one on the
Cool.
outro.
That'll
Is that
work.
cool?
Yeah, that'll
Is
work.
that cool? Are you sure?
I'm positive.
Is there a part that you want me to start at, like the solo?
Doesn't matter.
Are you sure?
Yeah, the whole song is awesome.
He'll cue it to the solo.
Yeah.
He wants that solo.
Yeah, I'll cue it to the
If
solo.
the credits aren't long enough, man, it's going to cost you
I'll
the
just
beginning
start
of that
making up
song.
new sponsors.
That's
Oscar
right.
Mayer, fucking,
I don't think my ego deserves that.
Lee Press on Nails,
So
whatever.
awesome.
Right,
All
dude.
that shit.
AIDS. Not the disease, the dietary aid.
There we go.
The dietary
Again,
appetite
clarification.
suppressant. I just wanted
MDR is
to
brought to you
clarify.
by AIDS. That is so crazy, man. You guys are assholes. Anyway,
I know.
episode 47, I think. Right? 47? Shit.
Who knows?
Whatever. It's
47.
another episode of
You know,
NPR that nobody's going to care about.
But it's a good random number because if you never don't know the number and it's like a high number, you're like, it's 47 fucking times or whatever
Yeah.
we've done this. So
Yeah.
47's good.
All right, man.
Works.
Hey, I have no idea when we're going to be back again. Sometimes we do it every other week. Sometimes we wait 3 weeks. It just depends on if my
Yeah.
ego's damaged.
Yeah.
Or whatever. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Please, man, tell your friends about it. If you dig the episodes and you want to be a part of this, let us know you want to be on the show. I mean, if you want to come on, let us know. Hit the subscribe button on the goddamn YouTube. Say something. Type, you guys suck. Something, anything. Let's have a conversation here. So thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Later on.
Goodbye.
Light.
Let me know you're here to play. Let it